appears on the screen with Zoom. It really is helpful if your name appears on the screen just as it did, you know, when you registered. So we're matching those up. So it's helpful. So if, you know, you don't get in, that's probably why, like if we don't recognize the screen name that's popping up, we're just unfortunately having to be super, super careful about who we admit into the sessions with us. So thank you for your patience as we work through some new things. We are beginning on time, and so we will, try to get going here. If you notice, your video, audio, and chat features are disabled, but never fear. If you have any questions or comments or need to share something with us, we're going to share a link to a survey with you at the end of the evening, and you can ask any questions, let us know, give us your feedback. That way we will also share our contact information. So you're welcome to email or give us a call, if you have some questions or concerns that aren't addressed through the session tonight. And I am Shelley Dunlap, for those of you that I don't know. And with us this evening, also another family engagement coordinator for Jones County is Ms. Shelby Henderson. And our executive director of family engagement is with us this evening, Ms. Leslie Poitras. She is working hard behind the scenes, admitting people into the session. So you may not see her on your screen, but we also have Ms. Amy Marlowe with us. She is our county literacy specialist, and she will be talking with you in just a moment about helping your kids to fall in love with reading. And then also contributing to our presentation tonight, we had Ms. Karen Barnett and Ms. Carmen Benford. They are our instructional technology coaches, and they're not able to be with us for this session, but they have shared some resources with us that we will be passing along to you throughout the course of the evening. This little graphic is just kind of meant to just give you pause for thought here. A student who reads a minute per day will be exposed to 8,000 words in a year's time. Now, typically those students score in the 10th percentile on standardized tests. And I think we can all agree that that is not our goal where our students are concerned. But if you jump to the other end of the spectrum, a student who reads 20 minutes a day, rather than being exposed to only 8,000 words in a year's time, they are exposed to 1.8 million words in a year's time, which is just incredible. And their standardized test scores reflect that, because they typically score in the 90th percentile. And so, this is just to give you some thought about how important reading is. It really does just open a world of possibilities, and it sets your child up for academic success.
Now, at the conclusion of our presentation, we will email you out a verification form. If you'll take just a few moments to complete it for us, let us know your name, your student's name, their grade, their school, and we will gladly give them their free book for their home library. And once again, that's a book on their appropriate reading level. And tonight we'll hear from Miss Marlowe about how to help your child fall in love with reading again. Some links and sites and apps, some digital resources that you can use at home, information about our public library, and then we'll close it up and talk about our survey. And now we'll have Miss Amy Marlowe, our district literacy specialist.
It helps if you're unmuted, apparently. You guys, I'm sorry, I was just steady talking, introducing myself. Welcome to this session this evening. I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see it. All right. And if you were with us last time, you will see some many familiar things. I do want to point out that this presentation is entitled how to help your big kids stay or fall back in love with reading. Notice there is a sullen adolescent child here and a parent who looks like they're ready to give up on life. Don't give up on your adolescent children. Okay, I have a few good tips and things that'll help you. Much of this presentation is very similar to the one we showed before, and I will go through it rather quickly because I think most everyone who's with us was with us last time, so there's no sense in saying the same things over and over again. All right, so it's clear parents and teachers want the same thing. We want successful readers. We know they have to be good readers to survive in life, but I think when kids get, pre-adolescence, it starts around 9 and goes, I don't know, my kid is 16 and isn't out of it yet. So teens and tweens, something happens around there and they just want to do everything they can. If you want them to read, they don't want to. If you didn't want them to read, they'd probably read every book in the library. So I think it's part of just who that age group is. But here are some tips and tricks that I think will work to help keep your children engaged or get them re-engaged in this process. So reading levels are pretty confusing. Parents are always asking, what do? I don't understand. I get this score. I have a GMAS and I've got a math and I have a HMH and all these other things. It's super confusing. So kind of to talk you through that, it's lots and lots of data that's used to guide different parts of instruction. You don't need to get too caught up in the number. Get books for your child and let them read. If you're curious to know about how you can help your teacher, just reach out to them. The data points will never, that sometimes they match and sometimes they don't. Sometimes one test will say you're in this percentile, the other will say your child's in this percentile. Super confusing. Just don't worry too much about that. However, with some guidance anyway, you definitely want to get your child reading in a zone where they're going to grow. So you don't want to go too far below their grade level, and clearly books that are really high above their grade level are not going to be able to keep them reading anyway. This is a tool, and I use it only with my older group of students or parents, actually, parents of students. This is called Lexile Growth Tools. And the address for this is https://hub.lexile.com. And this has all kind of great stuff in here about find a book and Lexile level charts. And you can take your data and it'll analyze it. It'll let you know if your child's on track according to that test for college and all kind of other things. However, please remember this. The test your child took, whatever one it is you put in here, was one measure on one day. Just because that one test was really high or really low doesn't mean your child is necessarily going to end up under a bridge or at Harvard. Okay, so just kind of keep yourself grounded in reality, keep them reading. And it might be that your child ends up at Harvard, and I hope that is the case, but try not to let the numbers drive every decision you make, because they do vary, and students can suddenly, the light will come on and they'll start reading and growing and you'll be like, who is this kid, right? So this is a great site. I don't have a live link there, but I would definitely tell you to try that out. So what else can a parent do to help besides those kinds of things? And again, it's just like I said with the little people. You let your child pick a lot of books that they want to read, and then let them read those books. It's very uncomplicated. Granted, if they're in first grade, Harry Potter is a little over grade level. If they're super interested in it and you're willing to read it with them, you can probably get through some of Harry Potter, but the themes and ideas in Harry Potter are advanced. So that's why your teachers want to keep your kids in kind of a reading range. So encourage your child to read books that challenge them. But you don't want to totally undo what the teacher's doing either. So, try to kind of match what they're doing. If your child wants to go way ahead, make sure you let their teacher know, and your teachers will support you as they stretch a bit. If your child wants to read far below, talk to your teacher, because honestly, reading something is better than reading nothing. But try to get near that range. But in the end, it's not about numbers and ranges. It's about that your child is reading. It's a guide. Numbers are a guide. But the goal is to be loving to read, not tortured to read. Okay, so here are some simple strategies for creating stronger readers in the adolescent zone, and these are some good ones. First of all, find the why in young adult novels. Now, it depends on the age of your child. All of these books pictured here are not appropriate for 9-year-olds. So if I've got people in that zone, it's more upper middle school and high school aged books. But, I've read a couple of these on here and they're very interesting and would be engaging to children. However, they're not always appropriate. So that's why it's good when your kids are getting into adolescence to kind of get the book and preview it yourself. If your child wants to read Children of Blood and Bone, perhaps you want to read that first because it sounds like it could be a little questionable. Well, you can read it with them, ask them questions about what they've discovered in the book, and all those kinds of things. So don't be scared away with young adult books, especially once your child gets into the teen years. Merge movies with books. Most every book, every movie that's out right now had a book in front of it. So there's all kind of great connections. You can read the book and then go see the movie. Even shows like The Mandalorian and Star Wars, things that your kids may be interested in these teen years, have books related to them that they can read. There's always a tie to that. And I will say, and it is true, the book is always better. So, graphic novels. This is a place where parents feel super uncomfortable. We didn't have graphic novels back in olden times. Okay. So like your child comes home with these books and it's all pictures and you're like, what is this? What are you reading? This looks like a comic book. You guys, graphic novels are, they are comic books per se. However, they are written if it's in your child's reading level, it is going to be on your child's reading level. So what I'm getting at is, in a graphic novel, the vocabulary and the pictures are going to work together in a complex way that's on your child's grade level. And there is no shame in a graphic novel. I would say, again, like I said a minute ago, reading anything is better than reading nothing. Okay. So if you can get a child hooked with Dog Man, it's way better than just having them do nothing. So and that's a super popular one. If you have little boys, Dog Man is a serious hit, and there's like a whole series of them, so your child can read all of them, and then they can graduate from Dog Man into Diary of a Wimpy Kid. It links back to the movies. Great things going on there. Lots of ways to get your child reading. Lure them in with adult books. Now hold on. You have to be a little careful here because when your children are on the younger end of adolescence, some books are not appropriate. I mean, when I was just as an example, when I was a young girl, I can remember being around like 9th grade. I read a book by Stephen King. I mean, 9th grade is probably about right to read Stephen King. However, that is definitely an adult book. And I mean, I'm sure I missed so many themes and underlying things in that book, but reading that did not destroy my life. So, lure them with an adult book that you've read before that you feel is appropriate for your family. Because, they might, sometimes feeling grown up will motivate a child to read. Try some poetry. On this, I don't have the book on this particular page, but there's a book that boys absolutely adore. My reluctant reader at home adored the book Crossover. It is a poem written completely in verse. He liked it because since it's written as a poem, it flows well. And then there's lots of space on the page, so you're flipping pages pretty regularly. And so it was poetry. It's got that whole rhyming thing going on. He super enjoyed Crossover, and there's other books like that. A lot of these pictured here are good. Brown Girl Dreaming is a good one. So a lot of times that verse is familiar. It's pattern related. Kids just like it. It's like if they're into rap music, it kind of plays into that whole thing. Let them listen to stuff. The audiobooks, there's plenty, and we're going to talk about a few of those options in just a little bit. Some books you can get at the library. Sometimes you can download them. Let them listen to the book occasionally, and take that as an avenue to get into actually reading the book. And this is the most important: model reading. If they never see you read, they have an excuse for not reading because they'll say, well, you don't read. Well, I mean, you can't really argue that because so whenever you can show your children what a reader looks like, you are helping put down the foundation to create lifelong readers. And clearly, if you have reading material around the house, there's things to read. So if I have books, I can read them. And give the gift of reading. A Barnes and Noble card, take them and say, here's $20, spend it on however many books you can get for $20, but you have to buy just books, because if you give them a Barnes and Noble card, there's other stuff there. So, but those are ways that you can get kids engaged in reading, and then it's like they have their own money and stuff. Don't forget about the libraries. They're going to go into a little bit more detail in just a minute about the library, so I'm not going to kill the joy of that. I did want to mention our little libraries, which are in a state of refurbishment right now. So hopefully over this summer, we can get those up and rolling again. And Little Joe as well, which is going to be on one of the next slides. Trying to get her rolling again as well. And we have some free reading resources. Some of these were included later, but I'm just going to go over them really fast. I promise we're going to send you all of these links, so don't feel like you have to write these down. eRead Kids is from the Middle Georgia Regional Libraries. It's a kids thing, and you check these out. They're digital books, free for library patrons. Open Libraries, another site, openlibrary.org, has books for kids. Fun Brain, this one's a little limited, I will say, but there are books in there that kids can read. And maybe you get them, see here, you've got a sample of Diary of a Wimpy Kid. If your child has never read it, maybe this is how you get them hooked. Audible.com is another place where there are books for kids to read in here. Storyline Online's another. Common Lit is one for bigger kids that this will actually have some stuff, really more high school aged books. Audio Files, another bigger kid type books. And real fast, in case you missed the last presentation, I wanted to tell you about our Joe Cola Summer Reading Challenge, because it is February. However, summer will be here before we know it. So our contest begins in May and runs through August. Students will complete a digital form for every book they read over the summer. Every child who participates gets a certificate, but if they read the most books at their school, they get a $25 Visa gift card, and every book they read enters them in an additional drawing for a $50 gift card. So the more they read, the more chances they get to win. And this is an example of the digital form, or we will take old-fashioned paper if you prefer that. There's our Visa card, sort of what that looks like. And I want to say it again, even if you were with us, home is the child's first school. The parent is the child's first teacher, and reading is the child's first subject. So just keep that in mind, and keep working on those adolescent kids. I know they can make you be like the picture was all the time, because that's where my kids are right now. So I'm living that with you. So and just know, if you need any assistance from any of us, all you have to do is reach out. I'm going to stop sharing. Thanks for giving me the time to talk with you this evening.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Marlowe. And I am going to attempt to share again. So bear with me just a moment. Yes, here we go. All right. And so we have a neat little graphic. If you were with us last hour, we kind of skipped over this. This was during our little momentary break that we had there. But today a reader, tomorrow a leader. And we just believe this to be true, because, our students, to get them ready to lead in any career field, in any occupation, reading is critical. And so we just wanted to reiterate that for you. In the last hour, Ms. Benford was here to share some sites and some links with you guys. And so since she's not able to be with us right now, I'm going to attempt to do that. Here we go. Let's see if we can, there we go. All right, Ms. Benford created this Wakelet, and again, this just has some links to some different platforms that will give you access to free books. She has free children's stories listed here. Storyline Online, we'll kind of breeze by that one again. Ms. Marlowe has mentioned it. We're mentioning it here. Ms. Henderson and I had embedded that into our presentation. So That's a really great one, guys. It's celebrities reading to children. And again, I think Ms. Marlowe may have said this, but your kids may not recognize the celebrities, but you will, and that's fun stuff. I mean, it's a win-win. They enjoy the story, you enjoy hearing somebody you recognize read it. Barnes and Nobles offers free ebooks. Amazon offers free ebooks. We've got Oxford Owl listed there. Open Library is one. Let's see, Overdrive. I see Will Books. Ms. Benford mentioned in the last hour, Storyberries is something that's new. Epic is something that's used in a lot of classrooms. And then, of course, AR Book Find, and that's probably more important for our older students because sometimes they are, working to find a book that's on their level. And so you can use this to help them find a book that would meet their reading level.
And AR Book Find is also great for those students that are really avid readers, especially some of your older middle school students that are reading for pure enjoyment and aren't sure if the book is an AR book or not. So that's a great way that they can go to AR Book Find and say, oh yeah, I read this book, but is there a quiz? Well, yes, so I'll take the quiz for it. So don't underestimate just double checking some of their higher level books.
And again, our little plug for Storyline Online, again, somebody we recognize, Oprah. We all grew up with Oprah. So, she reads, we mentioned Betty White, Wanda Sykes, just lots of great celebrity, Kevin Costner, just lots of celebs that are reading children's stories at Storyline Online. And then I mentioned Epic a moment ago, again, lots of free books. And the great thing I liked about that one in the classroom, when I was still in the classroom, it had the Read to Me feature. So if they are a beginning reader, or if they're struggling reader, again, if you have a 9 to 12-year-old, but they're a reluctant reader, or they're struggling with reading, you can, employ the Read to Me feature with that too. And now Ms. Henderson's going to give you some more information about Hoopla.
Okay, and here we go.
Are you seeing Hoopla?
Yes.
Here we go. Okay.
La la la. Okay, this gives you a little brief overview. Like I said, you log in with your library card. Once again, that's free. Middle Georgia allows you to borrow 6 titles a month, and they're instant downloads. And this is even a great resource for adult readers. You'll see music, magazines, all kinds of neat things. You can also binge pass different streaming services, audiobooks, comics, and remember, graphic novels. That's a great way to get our reluctant readers reading. And to me personally, I think they're more difficult to read than the regular book, but for a lot of our students, they like the way everything flows. And so many of the popular books and even classics have been turned into graphic novels. You can also download movies. You see there are different book months. Now, I also want to show you here we are, Sora. Sora is a new one, and the high school is really pushing it right now. It's also available for middle school students and elementary. You'll log in, select Jones County Schools. You'll see if it's available for an audiobook, or if the audio version is not available, you can search by subject. Say we want juvenile literature. We also see that these are some bilingual books. And we see new ebooks and audiobooks. Now, personally, I think an audiobook is a great way to get a child hooked on a new book. Download a few chapters, listen to it together, even if you're in the car and, oh, you want to find out what happens next? Well, let's go check out the book. Now, this is not in our presentation, but if you have never used Common Sense Media, it's a great resource, just as Miss Marlowe was saying, as our children need more advanced and adult content books, and we're not really sure what may be the book. We can go to commonsensemedia.org, all one word, and we can get selections, recommendations. We can also, let's say, Miss Marlowe, what title should you suggest we check?
Why don't we check, let's see. I'm trying to think of one that's check Children of Blood and Bone. Since we mentioned that in the other one.
Children of Blood and Bone. And is this the one or a different one?
That's it.
Okay, so we can see the suggested age of the book. We can see that parents say 15 and up, kids say 13 and up. And this is one of the parts that I really like. It gives you a ranking for educational value, positive messages, how much violence is in the book, how much sex is in the book, is there drinking, drugs, and smoking, or even is there language? It tells you a little bit about, as a parent, what you need to know, and just gives you more information. And Common Sense Media not only has books, they also have apps, movies. Let's say even if we were going to look up Diary of a Wimpy Kid, which may be lower than what some of our students are reading right now. So we'll pick the first one. Oh, I could see that this may be just the book or the DVD. Oh, this is a movie review. And Big Shot, one of the newer Wimpy Kids. We can see the educational value. How diverse are the characters listed? Is there sex? Is there drinking and drugs? No. What about the language? So I think those are some great websites that we can use and really encourage our older students. And as a parent, those are some websites that you can use to support our students as they're reading. And I showed you earlier about Hoopla and Libby. We also talked about Sora. And now let's listen to this video that Ms. Karen Barnett, one of our instructional coaches, created for us about some of the web tools on Office 365 we might can use. Can't hear it, Miss Dunlap.
Oops. Okay, are you guys not hearing it? Not at all? Okay. Huh. All right, let's see what we can do about that. I'm going to. Are you hearing it? Do you hear it at all? No? Are you hearing it at all? No.
It's
It's
We
not
can just fast forward through some of it and show some of the screens.
sure. Let's see if I can.
One
All right.
thing that you may or may not know is each student in Jones County does have a license for Office 365, and that allows them to download the program on 5 different devices. So that is a great way that our students can use the Office tools.
Okay, and so here it's showing you that on Word, you would just click Immersive Reader. And let's see if we can see some of the functions within Word. Hang on just a second. Let's see.
And Immersive Reader will also work if you are using the Edge internet browser.
And so the student can select the voice speed, whether it reads to them in a female voice or a male voice. I'm going to it can highlight items as it's reading. You can change the font, you can change the text size, you can put more space between the lines. You can even do some highlighting. You'll see that in just a moment. You can also pick out parts of speech. You can divide words into syllables. It will actually give you a line focus option where you focus in on one line at a time as it's reading.
And it gives you the option to just do some of the text highlighting and the options without the voice. So if your student just may need a little bit of extra help in staying online and not skipping, that could be an option. And of course, you can always use the read to me part.
And you can see that there's a picture dictionary for certain words. If a child is struggling with what a word means, they can use the picture dictionary feature. It translates into different languages. You're going to see right there. And then after you've translated it, you can actually click on the word too, and it will let you know what the word means in English. And the Immersive Reader feature is good not only in Word, but also, as you can see here in PowerPoint. It is available in Forms. It can actually read the questions and answer choices to a student. It is available in Teams. So again, when we push out this presentation to you guys through this more next week, you'll be able to hopefully hear the video and get a little bit more information on that, because it's playing on my end. I'm sorry, it's not translating well over cyberspace tonight. Okay, and so again, we know that reading increases our vocabulary and knowledge, lowers our stress levels, and helps us live longer, happier lives.
And we reviewed the resources available at Jones County Library. So just to remember, we have some new hours for the public library. Anyone can get a library card, and don't hesitate if your child does not have a library card. If you don't have a library card, get one. There are so many things you can use your public library for. They even have free passes you can get to go visit the zoo and different attractions, historical events, just because you have a library card. These are 2 apps that the library suggests, and those in addition with SOAR will be a great resource for ebook reading. Remember, the library is always available for use in their computer lab. The children's activities, they have their new teen activity group that meets the last Tuesday of each month at 5:30. The second Saturday of the month is the Friends of the Library sale. It's a great way to stock up on books, a great way to support the library. 1,000 books for kindergarten initiative. If you have any younger children or even grandchildren, nieces and nephews, encourage them to read because we know how important it is, that early literacy. This year's summer reading theme, and they will have many activities for teens also. Oceans of Possibility, and that runs May the 31st through July the 29th.
And so again, we do ask that you complete a survey for us this evening to receive the free book for each child in your home. We'll make sure we get those delivered to the schools within the next couple of weeks. It'll probably be much sooner than 2 weeks, but we just want to make sure we had a good window there to get those deliveries out. And again, this is the QR code for the survey. That is the link. We will be emailing that link out to you at the conclusion of our presentations tonight. So just look for that to come in your email. If you don't have a phone handy, just scan that QR code. We will be sending that information. And again, if you have questions or wanted to make comments or let us know, how you felt about the presentations tonight, or maybe you have additional questions, just use that form to communicate with us, or you can contact us. Our email addresses are now on your screen, as well as our phone numbers, and we would love to hear from you. So thank you again for being here this evening. We appreciate you taking the time, and we hope you've learned some great information. And again, look for that survey link to come tonight, and then on Monday, we'll send out the full presentations to you.